Assalamu alaikum, everyone. I'm just fixing my mustache so it doesn't impede my speech. But no, I'm up here tonight because I have an incredible honor of introducing one of the guests of honor, a pillar of our community, someone who's so inspirational in so many ways. So Saara Hafeez has dedicated her life to the economic empowerment of disenfranchised women. She's the co-founder of Altered, which is a New York City-based clothing alterations company that has a unique business model because it empowers immigrant and refugee women by providing meaningful income and the flexibility to work from home. You can all say mashallah. Before starting Altered, Saara was poster child of American Muslim success. She launched a jewelry social enterprise in Tijuana, Mexico to help women who were formerly trafficked rebuild their lives. But before that, she went to a really prestigious Ivy League university and worked at all the top firms in New York City doing corporate work. And I think, mashallah, she's so inspirational because her deen and her heart was in a place where she traded that so she could help make the lives of other people better. And if you are wondering, she did eat 3 burritos before coming here because she is 6 months pregnant, expecting a baby daughter. So can we all give Saara and the future leader of the Ummah a big round of applause?
Thank you, Hassan. Thank you, everyone, for this honor and for the opportunity to share about my work. The IC is truly a special place for many reasons, not only for recognizing women, but also for creating a safe space in which we can talk about the issues that affect us most. I recognize my privilege early on. I still grapple why I've been dealt the particular set of cards I've been dealt with in this life. My only way to make sense of this world has been to decide to dedicate my life to the service of others. After college, like Hassan mentioned, I worked for several years in the corporate world, building up my skills. And when I finally felt ready to make the plunge into the service sector, I realized the wide range of needs out there. But I always felt strongly compelled to serve women from disenfranchised backgrounds. This desire led me to want to fight sex trafficking. I frequently get asked, why sex trafficking? First, its prevalence. Sex trafficking is everywhere, and it mostly affects women and girls. We can find victims in any space where there is poverty, neglect, a culture of abuse, or 2, the brokenness to demand or pay for sex. It's the girls who are abused as children, who don't know the boundaries when their boyfriends push them to have sex with others for money. It's the mothers who can't afford to pay the bills, so decide to work in a brothel once to pay the rent, and then find that their lives are controlled by a pimp. If you find these stories unsettling, you're definitely not alone. To confront the fact that sex trafficking is so prevalent is uncomfortable. And it's literally everywhere, from the corners of 28th and Lexington, to the restaurants of Gaza, to the corners of Karachi. The second reason I wanted to work against sex trafficking is because of the depth of the trauma. When I tell you that 4.5 million people globally are trapped in forced sexual exploitation, it might sound like a figure like this, like any other. Large, unfortunate, but still foreign. So I can grant that in a room with this level of privilege, education, and wealth, you may truly never come across someone who's been forced into sexual exploitation. But I can guarantee that every person in this room has someone in their life who's been sexually abused, whether you know it or not. And if you've ever heard someone recount these stories, you can get a sense of the pain. And I have a sense of that pain too, and with just a glimpse of that trauma, I could imagine what the trauma of being forced into sexual slavery would do to someone. Knowing these things, the extent of the problem, and the depth of the trauma, I felt compelled to work in the sex trafficking space. When I began working to fight sex trafficking, I was lucky to find an amazing organization that embodied what I believe deeply in life: rehabilitation through work. I joined the International Sanctuary team to launch a sanctuary to rehabilitate women in Tijuana, Mexico. Why Tijuana? The red light district there is one of the largest in North America, and the police there are known to be complicit in the trade. And as a US citizen, I had to force the fact that US border policies drive trafficking. How? When people are deported from the US, they are literally dropped to the other side of the Mexican border with just the clothes on their back. This renders people, especially women, extremely vulnerable. Our work came in when women escape or are rescued from brothels and need a way to rebuild their lives. Participants met with a social worker on staff several times a week and learned how to make jewelry, which we sold to support the facility and pay a living wage. In a very short time, I could see the transformational impact of a paycheck. I'd like to share the story of Gracia, which illustrates the power of how life can change when you have a chance. Gracia grew up in the United States, and it's most of what she knew. She worked in a retail store for a number of years when one day a coworker reported her to ICE. She was deported and left in Tijuana, where she didn't know anybody. It made her easy prey for a brothel which offered her meals and food. In exchange, she had to pay off her debt by having sex with clients. Gracia was lucky enough to escape and found herself at our facility, where she came nervous and shy. In a matter of days, her personality began to shine through. So after a few months, we were able to promote her for her contributions to the community. Near the end of my time in Mexico, Gracia began an evening GED program, which she still continues today. When women who are formerly trafficked have a community, stable environment, and their own money, their lives start to turn around. After growing the facility in Tijuana and getting it towards smooth operations, it was time to come back home. Time to work with the many women in New York who are also in need of opportunity. I wanted to create a sustainable solution to the growing number of people struggling to make ends meet. Altered makes clothing alterations convenient by picking up and dropping them off to customers. The best part of our model is that all of our tailors are low-income immigrant and refugee women. Altered recognizes that the biggest barriers for many women to enter the workplace are the inability to afford child care and cultural restrictions. Recognizing this, we bring the work to them. The story of Sayeda is illustrative of the women that we work with. Sayeda grew up in Bangladesh, surrounded by family and friends. She moved to the US 3 years ago with her husband and 2 children, where she now lives in a 1-bedroom apartment in Jamaica, Queens. Every month, they struggle to make ends meet. And before her life with Altered, life was pretty lonely at home with just 2 kids under the age of 5. After joining the Altered team, in which she sews from home every day and has her own schedule, she is not only able to meaningfully contribute to household income, but she has new challenges to work on every day. She works on orders while her children sleep or play, so she doesn't feel like she has to make sacrifices. Altered is a new company, but we have hopes for employing many more women like Sayeda. Stories like Gracia and Sayeda's are beacons of light, but we have hopes that given more opportunities to more women, they can find transformation. Thank you for this honor and for this special opportunity to share. Let me please wrap up by thanking my mother, who showed me what service was at an early age, because there is no greater service than packing lunches so that your children can pursue their dreams while you put your own on hold. And to my husband, who knows that sometimes love is about creating and giving space. Thank you.